I give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Благодарю вас.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to thank Mrs. Zumina-Kamitsa for the report, and we listened to Mr. Badruddin Abdelgader and Mr. David Lockett very carefully. We do support the fact that the Kenya presidency is conducting the discussion today of the issue of small arms and light weapons within the Security Council, not as a disarmament topic, but rather within the context of peacekeeping operations. We do understand very well the concerns a number of states have, especially those who are in Africa, for whom the issues having to do with the illicit flows of small arms and light weapons are particularly serious. We think that the biennial reports by the Secretary General on the small arms and light weapons issues, the peacekeeping topic should be paid far greater attention. We also think we have every reason to expect that such existing mechanisms in this area, such as the program of action, the prevention, combating, and eradicate illicit trade in small arms and light weapons, will be better reflected in the reports. Mr. President, UN peacekeeping missions with their proper mandates play an important role in assisting states as states implement their security sector reform programs, disarmament, demobilization, reintegration programs, in restoring law enforcement bodies and the rule of law. When peacekeepers participate in disarming the warring parties and disbanding their units, in reintegrating the former combatants so as to make sure that the conflicts are not resumed, when they do this, peacekeepers have the following goals: supporting the peace process, creating the conditions for a political settlement, and also ensuring the safety for the population, but also for the blue helmets themselves. At the same time, successful DDR is impossible without a lasting, solid reconciliation between parties, and this includes trust between them, which is underpinned by sufficient security conditions and genuine opportunities for the integration of disarmed combatants into the newly created armed forces or into the civilian life. The presence of a vast amount of uncontrolled small arms and light weapons is not only an impediment towards ensuring the security of the civilians and peacekeepers, but it also in general brings into question the possibility of ending of an armed conflict and creating the conditions conducive to a decisive reconciliation between parties. We are convinced that the responsibility for the control over the flows of small arms and light weapons should belong with the governments of those countries where the small arms and light weapons are located. And in this regard, we think that it is particularly important to reform the security sector. Success in this process helps not only with the process of national reconciliation, but also with the creating of national security institutions which can effectively protect civilians, which can exercise control over the entire territory of the country and counteract the terror groups. It's important for this to make sure that the government of a country can the opportunity to establish professionally trained and equipped armed forces. In this regard, we would like to remind colleagues in the Council of our position to review the sanctions regimes as regards some countries, and this to ensure that the armed forces of such states as the Central African Republic, Sudan, South Sudan, and Somalia could be properly trained and prepared, and this would enable them to maintain law and order. Mr. President, there is no other context for the discussion of the issue of small arms and light weapons within the Security Council other than peacekeeping. There is nothing else. And we do not think that this can be discussed under such abstract topics as, for example, sustainable development, gender, or climate change, which is something that we keep hearing regularly from our colleagues. We doubt very much that discussions within that framework could bring in any added value, especially within the Security Council, and this is because the priority platform for the discussion of small arms and light weapons issues is the General Assembly. It is within the General Assembly at the open and universal basis that regular work is being done on the program of action that I just mentioned, and that program is the only specialized global document in this area. We do appreciate in this context the efforts made by Kenya to hold in July of this year of the 7th biennial meeting of member states on the issue of implementing the program of action. Practically speaking, we think it's important to help implement the outcome document of the meeting, first and foremost at the national level. And lest we forget, combating the illicit trafficking of small arms and light weapons, ensuring their secure stockpiling, and destructing their excess is a prerogative of states themselves and is an integral part of their sovereignty. The Russian Federation has a well-developed national legislation on combating the illegal trafficking in small arms and light weapons, and we stand ready to actively share our experience, including the most successful tried practices, with interested countries. I thank you.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for his statement.